This happened 1 year ago, and the family says the officer threw Rodriguez into the path of the oncoming train that took his life. Rodriguez's sister says it took months for them to get the video.
And when we seen that video, it was like a lot of questions that we had, as a family. We were able to get those answers.
But the Long Beach Police Department says Rodriguez accidentally fell back during the scuffle with the officer. We were there.
Okay. I mean, come on, man. Accidentally fell back. What is being ignored in all these murders is the confrontation. I mean, what would have been the harm in just telling this guy, look, we'd like to get your identification, taking pictures of him, videotaping him, following him around, or just letting him go. I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, this is just another example of oppression of poor people. I mean, let's say that the guy did jump the turnstile somehow, right? So what? And, it used to be when I lived in New York, people used to do it. It was 25 cents. Now I don't know how much it is, because it's obviously enough that people who are poor feel like it's worth jumping, or maybe it's their only alternative. Maybe they don't have any way of getting to where they need to go. This is another example of why everything that is what I call essential goods and services should be free. Not really free, because if you're here and you're participating in the economic system, then it should be available to you. I mean, in a way, just by being an American citizen, you paid for it. And in this case, from what I saw, he's an American citizen. Look, I understand racism, We're like red ants and black ants. We just instinctually want to kill each other. But being a human being is trying to live beyond instinct, beyond bungle in the jungle, right? We're trying to find a way to live together, all the different races. And, I get those feelings inside just like everybody else. I want to instinctually, fall back on race to protect myself, because I'm white. So, and black people, I'm sure, feel the same way, and Hispanics feel the same way. Oddly enough, except for this kind of reaction that we call racism, because there is such a thing as black racism, but blacks don't seem to be naturally as racist as whites or Hispanics or Chinese or Arabs. My guess is that that's because blacks are probably the first race, right? From what I've seen, we all came from black people in a certain area of Africa, kind of down below Egypt, down in there, Ethiopia and all those places. And we all migrated, because I study human migration. It's hard to figure out what happened pre-history, about 1200 BC, 10,000 BC. We didn't have any history, and we were mostly nomadic. But blacks do seem to be less racist. I gotta say that, and more passive. And maybe it's because of the first race. Maybe because everybody was black at one time. They didn't have the racism that the rest of the new races, that because races were formed by moving to cooler and cooler climates, from what I see. Something about living on the equator and in Africa turns people black, or creates black people through evolution. Anyway, I didn't mean to turn this into a racist thing. So, because what this is about, really, is about the police state. Because we have something that we call a cherished right, and that is innocent until proven guilty. And if we would actually follow that, this would have never happened. So you get a guy, you think he did something illegal. I mean, skipping out on the toll on a train ride. Give me a break, right? You're gonna tackle a guy and attempt to arrest him over that? You know, he's got to come through here maybe every day, maybe once or twice a week or a month, and just think about all the business we could give police if they had to investigate instead of arrest. See, innocent until proven guilty, you can't arrest anybody until you've found them guilty, because you have to treat them like they're innocent. Sure, you can investigate them all you want. You can have 10 guys follow him around. Hire all kinds of people to work in investigating crime. This one guy, instead of tackling him, follow him. Get on the radio at the train stops at every thing. So at everything, another cop can get on, and they can all follow him, and say, you've got to give us your name and phone number and stuff, and take pictures of him and videotape him and whatever. And then immediately take whatever proof you have to a judge and get 12 people in the room, and give him every opportunity. If he doesn't give you his phone number and address, then you can try him absentia, which means you don't know his name, you don't know anything about him yet. And then once you try him and you get 12 honest people, unbiased people, which is something that it's hard to find, but that's another thing we need to look or work on in our justice system. We need to train people to be good jurors. I mean, if there's no evidence, then they find him innocent, and they tell these guys who are hounding him to leave him alone. And but to tackle a guy who's innocent until proven guilty and throw him in front of a train, really? I mean, really? If we would just follow the simple rule of innocent until proven guilty, people like this wouldn't end up dead. It's just simple humanity. And it illustrates how the poor are being persecuted. Because this isn't the only thing that happens. This isn't the only guy, yeah, maybe who got thrown in front of a train recently, but in general, poverty is dangerous. That's why people will do just the shittiest jobs to stay out of poverty. That's why people will work all day. And that's why there is poverty, to be quite honest, is because the rich like it. They like it. I mean, there's bad rich people. There's bad rich people who love the fact that there are women out there who will let them fuck them for $25. Right? I mean, prostitution is a perfect example of the extreme of what rich people are doing. People who have a lot of money, or have plenty of money. Look at Donald Trump. You know, this old fart with this, well, maybe now she's 50 or something, I don't know, but young woman. Well, she's just a whore. I mean, yeah, I know she's first lady and everybody's gonna jump and down and you don't talk, but the fact is she's with him for his money. And that's what the system does. And the rich people know that, right? They know the desperation and they create it. I mean, despite all the jumping up and down about illegal immigration, they love it. They love having a whole new labor pool that they can pressure white people with, pressure other Americans with. You know, you've got all these people who will work for slave wages, and it pressures all the other people to work for slave wages too. And it results in a guy being thrown in front of a moving train. I mean, the cop didn't end up in front of the train. No. The cop threw the guy in front of the train. It's just like this cop who's bothering me right now. What he did was, he was off duty, plain clothes. He confronted a guy. Now, I doubt that this guy really had his gun out. I doubt he even had his gun with him. He was probably left his gun in his car. But they searched his car, supposedly found a suicide note. See, that's another thing, right? And I'll bet you they put the gun with him, or simply said it had been with him. You know, he shot this guy 4 times, 3 or 4 times, and then even though the guy didn't shoot back, this gun was never fired that he supposedly had on him, because the cop claims that he had this gun on him and that he was able to pull his gun, shoot 4 rounds, and then he said he paused and then shot 4 more rounds. Well, if the guy wanted to kill him, wouldn't he at least have gotten a shot off in this time that the guy managed to fire 4 times and then pause? He claims he paused and then decided to fire 4 more times. So my point is, innocent until proven guilty of what? You know, what is he confronting this guy? This guy was just sitting on a park bench, or on a bench outside of a mall. A bench on the street outside of the mall, according to what I saw or read in the police report. So these confrontations, you know, are resulting in the death of other people. This has got to stop, you know. Leave people alone. You want to investigate them? You want to sit around and videotape them and try and ask them questions and stuff like that? And call in for backup and what have you, and basically, up to a point, you can't harass them. And you shouldn't be physical with them in any way. You certainly shouldn't pull out your gun. Innocent until proven guilty.